Hi everybody. So, in my efforts to get caught back up because I'm 3 videos behind, but actually I'll only be 1 video behind after this one, I wanted to talk a little bit about crowdsourcing, sponsorship, and the value of a dollar. So one of the things that I'm seeing a lot of videos on with like Wrangell Star, Luma Acres, Stony Ridge Farmer, those are the 3 off the top of my head. I know there's been more. I think even Homesteadies talked about this a little bit, is that you can't, in today's modern world, survive just being a homesteader or even a farmsteader at this point. The cost of doing business, the cost of equipment, seeds, chickens, feed, animal, is just to the point where, in our economy, you can't do it without having like some other source of income. You can't get the volume you need due to the commercial operations driving the prices down so far to actually pay your taxes. It was an interesting video that Doug and Stacy did where he had to sell 2 sheep to pay his spring taxes. If only it were that simple, because my spring taxes here, I'd have to sell 4 sheep, and I live in a little house in a city. I couldn't see how I could raise enough sheep just to pay my taxes. But, I guess there are ways to do it, and people have done it. And so what a lot of these people are doing, like Wrangell Star and Stony Ridge, is they have sponsors. And I've seen people trash talking this whole concept, but why? How is going out and getting a sponsor any different than going out and getting a job? They all have this code that they've kind of self-imposed on themselves where they will only allow people to sponsor them whose products they actually like. So, even in some ways, places like Keeping It Dutch and Arms 8 Homestead, they all got free cookers in the last couple of weeks in agreement with these people just to do videos on using them. They didn't get money, they just got free cookers, and then they were able to give a cooker away to each one of their separate channel subscribers. Crouch Family also did the same thing with the same company. That's still sponsorship, but I don't see the problem in it. I think it's actually very ingenious. Another comment that I've seen a lot, especially around the playing homestead comments, is that Pure Living for Life isn't real because they crowdsourced all their money to build their homestead. So I wish I could crowdsource to build a home. I actually tried that 2 years ago when I was first trying to start going to a homestead instead of coming to this house here in the city. I tried to crowdsource the money to get the homestead up and going. And I had raked together 15% of the money we needed to buy the farm. And I was trying to just rake together another 5%. So I tried to crowdsource it, and it didn't work. I couldn't crowdsource it. I have wrote up a couple business plans to try to get government grants and business plans to go to venture capital firms to build different versions of homesteading experiences. And I don't see any different in that than going out and getting a job. If you think you got to be only on the homestead, only surviving with what comes off the homestead, well, that's great practice for the apocalypse, but the apocalypse is not here. So why would you not take advantage of any opportunity you have to generate resources? Another problem that is a little less pronounced, mostly because no one wants you to know this, but this is common sense, and you just need to take a step back and look at this. So I went to school for 12 years. I have a master's degree in business management. It's a science degree, not a liberal arts degree. It's a science degree. I think a science degree is still a liberal arts degree, but I have a master in science instead of a master of arts. I spent thousands of dollars on that degree, and really all it did was give me a piece of paper that didn't help me move up. So for the last 20 years, I've been a manager in an industry. And I started off just doing project management, little projects, and then I would got into bigger projects and bigger projects and bigger projects, and then eventually I was managing and running whole entire geographical areas for companies. And I have been the number 2 in a multi-billion-dollar international corporation for a geographical area. And the titles and names are all goofy. I mean, you get into a company that big and they got a title for everything, and some of them have DOAs, some of them don't. But I did have a DOA that authorized me pretty high up. I mean, basically, if you were to draw a direct line with me taking out all the other districts and regions, I was like the number 6 or 7 guy below the president in charge of this whole entire area. And it was a multi-million-dollar operation, and I had 60, 70 people who worked under me. Now I'm over in another company where I wanted to go somewhere and actually use my knowledge and my skills to build something up. So I came over to a small multi-million-dollar company, 15 employees, and I was the number 2 guy. And I've been the number 2 guy for 3 years, and we're growing probably faster than everybody else in the industry. And we're growing faster than probably anybody else in the industry in our local area, but it is a struggle. And one of the struggles we face, I digress, that was a lot of background for nothing, is the value of a dollar. And one of the things they teach you when you're going through your college and your master's program is that a dollar on March 17th is not worth what a dollar is worth on March 18th. And a lot of people look at interest rates and they say, oh, why are these people charging me 22% interest and things like that? A lot of that has to do with the value of a dollar tomorrow versus the value of a dollar today. So, for example, when I came over here to this small company in 2016, I took a very small pay cut based on my bonus program would allow me to actually make more money. That's all fine and well, and I've hit all my markers, but another story altogether. The value of a dollar, just the value of a dollar, is 12% less now than it was just 2 years ago. So that means every dollar in your pocket that if you hadn't spent for 2 years is actually worth 12 cents less. That's hidden inflation that nobody wants to talk about. When you talk about the fact that when I came over here, I came from a different state where the cost of living was 34% lower, but now the cost of living where I live is 39.2% higher than what it is in the old state that I used to live in right now. Even though the cost of living's gone up in both states, this one's even higher now than what it was over there. So when you add in the devaluing of the dollar, which that's a whole political topic I don't even want to get into today, but maybe if you leave enough comments about it, I'll give you my opinion on this political crap. And you add in the cost of living increases and the taxes increases, I actually make 29 cents less for every dollar I earn right now. But all of my bills have gone up to compensate for the 12% lost value in the dollar. So then you add that in, and I'm almost 50% less income now than what I was just 2 years ago. And that is really nobody's fault. That's just how it works. And that's a hidden concept that normal Americans don't think about. And most people who talk about it are labeled as crazy and off the wall, kind of like people looking for the zombie apocalypse to come along. But it is real. When you go to the store right now and you try to buy something, the cost increases are not because farmers are charging more for beef or because milk costs more to get out of a cow. The cost increases is that dollar you have in your pocket isn't worth what it was. Now, there's some signs and some hope that that's going to change in the future, but again, politics I'm not going to get into. But for the most part, I don't see how anybody, given the way the world has evolved in the U.S., could be a farmer without sponsorships or crowdsourcing. And I'm still back to the same thing. If you could, why wouldn't you? So maybe instead of giving all these guys a hard time, let's applaud them for their creativity. Because I can tell you right now, I tried to crowdsource and it didn't work. And with my puny number of subscribers, I don't have anybody beating my door down for me to be a sponsor. But maybe that'll change in the future. I'm hoping to get some real videos out rather than just commentary in the next few weeks. But for now, I guess it's just going to be commentary about the couch. Thanks a lot. Have a great day.